After the first few games of the year, the streets were asking, is there reason to be concerned about the Detroit Pistons? A few games later, your Detroit Pistons are now 5-2.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Khahil. You can find me over on Twitter at Khahil. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. I've been covering the Detroit Pistons for the last 4 years for the Locked On Network, being credential media member over the last 3 years. Make sure you hit that subscribe button at the YouTube channel if you haven't already, or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDINNBA for $20 off your first purchase. As we said in the cold open, after the first few games of the year, the Detroit Pistons had some questions. There were a lot of fans wondering, do they have enough shooting? Are they going to miss Malik Beasley? Are they screwed? Is it time to panic? I was after just 2 or 3 games. And listen, the Cleveland Cavaliers loss, it was bad. It deserved to be called out. I don't regret calling it out. But I said in that episode, right after that game, I said, while this game is unacceptable, it is not panic time. This game in and of itself is unacceptable, but it is not panic time. You advance a few games, and now your Detroit Pistons are sitting at 5-2. And later on in the podcast, we'll talk about, could we be looking at an even better start coming up? But I want to talk about, obviously, this win against the Memphis Grizzlies, and also talk about later on Cade Cunningham, after a slow start to the year, almost like he always starts off slow and wakes up, like I said. But we had some people outside Detroit, is Cade falling back? Is Cade really not going to be him? No, like, what happened? Obviously was foolish. We'll talk about how Cade's woken up, but obviously this game against the Memphis Grizzlies was a lot closer than it needed to be. The Pistons win 114-106. The Grizzlies, after being down by 21 late in the third, cut this to a 3-point game with around 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Made it a game. It was very close. And then the Detroit Pistons franchise player, superstar player, going to be a top 10 player in the NBA this year, Cade Cunningham, erupted for 19 points in the fourth quarter on 7 of 12 shooting. I want to make sure you bookmark that, what he did in the fourth quarter, for the next segment, because that's going to come back up. But he absolutely showed up and showed out in the fourth quarter, completely slammed the door shut on the Memphis Grizzlies, going at Ja Morant, hitting a pull-up over him, hitting a jab step 3 to really hit the dagger on the Memphis Grizzlies, getting to the basket and drawing free throws, going to the basket hard, extremely aggressive, not shying away from contact, drawing fouls. We are seeing Cade draw more fouls. We're seeing him become a better finisher at the rim. He's been a better finisher at the rim early on to the season. Not early on to the season, his jump shot has not been there. But in this game, he shot 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, and we saw him get to that mid. We saw him get to a floater even in that fourth quarter. Cade completely woke up. As soon as he got to a 3-point game, Cade said, get on my back. I got you guys. We're not losing this game. And he came through, and he absolutely delivered. He was the best player on the floor, and this is now the second time. This is now the second time when someone, quote-unquote, one of Cade's peers or one of Cade's contemporaries or someone that he made, is this guy better than Cade? This is now the second straight time. First game it was Paolo, and he slammed the door shut on Paolo in Orlando. And now you got Ja Morant, who, look, Ja just doesn't look, I'm really hoping it's just Ja's, working himself into shape or something, or he's just not unhappy. I hope it's not what I think it is. But he doesn't look the same. And that's really heartbreaking because I loved watching Ja. The athleticism reminded me of when I was a kid and watched D-Rose. And D-Rose was my favorite player ever. So I'm really hoping that's not what this is. I really hope he's not losing his athleticism. I hope he's just, this is just, a slow start to the year. But he just did not look the same. But my point, now another player who was once a face of the league candidate, Cade shows up, completely dominates them, and slams the door shut on them even coming close to having a chance to win this game. 19 points in the fourth quarter is legendary. 19 points in the fourth quarter is absolutely big time. And remember last year, a lot of people last year said, Well, he's good in the first half. Where is he at in the fourth quarter? And we were told all offseason he worked on that conditioning, and that's something he wanted to attack in the offseason. So far this year, you are seeing that play out. And again, we'll get further into that a little later. Stay tuned. But now I want to go to the next player who, despite Cade, look, if we're going to be honest, Cade's the player of the game, okay? Like, I can sit here and lie and kind of give this motivational speech about why he actually isn't player of the game. We all get it. Cade is the actual. If we're all being serious, Cade is actually the player of the game. Come on, he's the best player on the team. We get it. Close them out, 19 in the fourth. That's player of the game stuff. But on a sentimental part, player of the game, Isaiah Stewart, comes into this game. Tobias Harris is out, late scratch due to an ankle injury. Isaiah Stewart starts. They start the double big lineup, and Isaiah Stewart until Cade went bonkers in the fourth quarter, led the game, not the Pistons, led the game in scoring. He was the second highest scorer in this game when it was all said and done. He had 26 points, career high, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks in 33 minutes or 34 minutes of action. So 6 of 6 from the free throw line, which, by the way, the Pistons have to get better at the free throw line. Let me go ahead and just get this out the way now. I want to talk about Stu and how great he played, because he did play great. But I know if I don't talk about this and really hammer this home, there will be people and say I'm trying to ignore it. Ausar, I love you, man. I think he's playing exceptional. I've loved how he's played. The free throw shooting is going to stop you from being as good as I think you can be. The free throw shooting can't continue to be this bad. It just can't. You were at 64% this past year. 64% would be a godsend right now. You're shooting Ben Wallace levels at this point. This is terrible. You are not going to be able to be close to as good as I think you can be if you are going to continue to shoot this poorly from the free throw line. His whole efficiency is being screwed by the fact he just can't make free throws. He'll go 4 of 7, 5 of 8. He'll have a 6 of 12 game from the from the floor, but shoot 2 of 7 from the free throw line. Completely tanks his efficiency. You have to make your free throws, man. We saw you make free throws at 71% clip the last 23 games last year. We saw you. Heck, we would take 64% at this point. You shot that for the entire year last year. 64% we would take. We're at 40%. We're at Ben Wallace levels. This is awful. That cannot be acceptable. This has to get worked on. This has to be better. We saw you shoot 7 of 8 from the free throw line a few games ago. You are capable of shooting better from the free throw line. This is unacceptable. You have to be better at the line. There you go. You guys got that rant. No, I'm not giving anyone any kind of special treatment. 1 of 6 at the free throw line is unacceptable. And how he's shooting from the free throw line is despicable. He's better than that. He has to shoot better. If he doesn't, he's just not going to be as good as I think he can be, which I think he will be. So we'll see. But Stu was fantastic on defense, completely dominated the matchup with Jaren Jackson Jr., Defensive Player of the Year, an all-NBA player, completely dominated Jaren Jackson Jr. on the defensive end, dominated him on the offensive end of the floor too, dominated him on the glass. I spoke about this, or I wrote about this, I should say, over on the Substack in my game preview. I said what I was watching most for was how the Pistons dominated the Grizzlies on the glass and whether they were able to translate that to an easy victory. And it looked like that was going to be the case. The Grizzlies made it close. But Stu with 14 rebounds, Duren with 9 rebounds, and Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the worst big man rebounders maybe I've ever seen in my life. 4 rebounds, a Defensive Player of the Year that can't rebound. He just got bullied down there. Just completely got bullied by Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren. But Stu was absolutely fantastic. He was very quick with his trigger from beyond the arc. Shot 2 of 8 from deep. I get it. The ball was getting kicked out to him. If you're going to play at the 4, especially within the offense and the starting lineup, you have to take those threes. There was a point where I thought, okay, maybe we're taking a little too many threes, but it is encouraging to see that he has that confidence that he's willing to just let it go, and he's willing to get 8 threes up in a game. Now, you probably don't want him getting that many threes up every single game, but the fact that he has the confidence to get that type of volume up speaks to how far he's come as a three-point shooter and how confident he is in his own shot. So, I don't expect him to shoot 8 threes, but you're seeing the development with Stu. He shot 9 of 18 from the floor, 26 points, man. He dominated. Truly, before Cade went bonkers in the fourth, I was full ready to give Isaiah Stewart the undisputed player of the game. He was fantastic, but Cade's fourth quarter is just 19 in the fourth is too much, man. Gotta give it to Cade. But Stu was the second best player in this entire game, not just on the Pistons. He was the second best player in this entire game. And how far have we come? From Stu, truly, and we'll wrap it up here. Is there another player the Pistons have drafted? I mean, there is. Cade, obviously. But I guess the best way to say this without trying to compare him to anybody else. Stu is one of those players that we've actually gotten to see over the last 20 years of basketball with the Pistons, like 18 years, whatever, that actually we've seen develop every single year of his career. Like, we've watched him from a rookie to now get better every single year. And I can remember back to his rookie season recording these podcasts. That was my first year doing this. I remember watching him his rookie year, and at the beginning of the year feeling like maybe he's not ready to play in the NBA. We need to give him more time. Like, to be able to witness that from the start, it's kind of cool to see, to be honest. Because I remember recording podcasts and saying, Stu doesn't look like he's ready, he needs time. Like, he's not an NBA player yet. I remember saying that. And to be here now where he's the second best player in a game that has John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., it's one of those things that it's one of those fun things to watch that comes with when you have a homegrown team. Now, I'm not saying this is the only way to win, to build a team and win in the NBA. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. But that is one of the cool things about being able to watch homegrown teams, is that you'll be able to think back to those type of moments, especially when guys get better. You'll be able to think back and be like, man, I remember when this guy just wasn't ready for this, or I remember when this guy just wasn't that good, or he wasn't as good at this, and we're watching him now, and you get to see that whole development play out. Stu is the only one that obviously lasted from the original draft class of this rebuild, and to watch him come from where he was is honestly really, really cool to see for Stu. So fantastic game from him. Cade closes him out, and the Pistons are now 5-2. Coming up, Cade Cunningham has woken up. There was some concerns. There was some noise after the first few games about Cade Cunningham. Why is he so inefficient? Is he going to turn it around? Is he falling off? Was last year a fluke? Blah, 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 blah. Cade's woken up. It's almost like this happens every year. And he looks better than ever right now over the last few games. We'll break it down coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I'm a procrastinator. I wait till the last second with everything I do, especially when it comes to buying tickets. But Game Time saves someone like me because they have last-minute deals all the way up until the last minute of the event, or even after the event's already started, so I get good prices still. And they get me good seats, and I can see the view from my seat in the app, so I don't have to rush, end up getting a bad seat that I wasn't prepared for. Game Time sets it all up for me, even for someone like myself who waits the last second with everything. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDINNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, ticket, go with Game Time. So I want to thank you guys again, make Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. If you want to join the playback room and watch the games with us, link down below, playback, watch Pistons. Also, if you want to join the Substack, we have a 50% off deal, $3 a month, or you can get $30 a month or $30 a year. With the 50% off subscriptions deal that ends November 6th. I'll link that down below as well so you guys get all the film breakdowns and rim breakdowns that I do over on the Substack. But let's go ahead and talk about the Detroit Pistons franchise player. We talked about how fantastic he was in this game. 12 of 20 from the floor, 3 of 6 from deep, got to the free throw line 10 times, only made 6 free throws. This is like last year with him. Last year he started off slow from the free throw line. I don't know what's up with that. Cade is like someone who should be like a near 90% free throw shooter. Like, the fact that he goes through these spurts where all of a sudden he just stops shooting, he starts shooting poorly from the free throw line. It's weird. It happened. He had a weird stretch last year to start the year too, before heating up the rest of the year from the free throw line. But he's getting to the free throw line is the point. Getting to the free throw line. One of the biggest differences I've seen in Cade's game, this year is how good he has played in the second half of games. In the second half this season, he is averaging 15 points a game and shooting 72% Actually, 72% is wrong, I believe. Where is it? I believe I just lost it. Is it 72%? Oh, I was going to say 59. No, it's 59 true shooting percentage. That's what I was looking at. I think I was looking at something else with the 72%. But either way, 59% true shooting in the second half of games so far this season. He plays much better in the second half. And this was something that fans wanted. They wanted him to be more efficient in the second half. They wanted him to take over games in the fourth quarter. Whereas last year, it was something that he struggled with. Being completely honest, being completely transparent, he didn't play very well in the fourth quarter. Actually, I could probably get the exact numbers for you guys of what he was doing in the fourth quarter last year. Fourth quarter scoring, 2024, 25 season. All right, while those numbers load, everyone who watched Cade last year knows that he just wasn't the same player in the fourth quarter as he was throughout the rest of the game. And that was something Trajan talked about, that he felt like he had to improve upon, and he felt like a lot of it was his conditioning. He felt a lot of it was he was losing his legs at the end of games after having to carry the load for the majority of the game, and it was hurting him when it came to the fourth quarter. I have the numbers now up from the fourth quarter. This past year, he averaged 6.3 points on 43% shooting, 31% from three. Not very efficient at all. I'm not going to dive too much into that because quarter by quarter scoring, it's not like he's going to all of a sudden average 12 points in the fourth quarter. That would mean like crazy stuff. But the efficiency just wasn't very good at all in the fourth quarter for Cade this past year. And that has changed for him in this season. He's playing absolutely tremendous when it gets to the fourth quarter. He's playing absolutely tremendous when the second quarter or the second half arrives. And that's a little bit of a flip from this past season. I think one of the biggest changes we've seen from him is that to start the game, he's allowing his teammates to get into a groove, and he's kind of playing like this CP3 role. Like he's kind of just facilitating, being this maestro, not being ultra aggressive. Like I believe in the first half of this game tonight, he had 3 shot attempts. And I think he had 17 in the second half. He was completely passive as a scorer in the first half, but he was finding his teammates. He was letting his teammates get to their spots, finding them open. Like that's the way he's been playing, it feels like, in the first half of these games. Outside, I believe in the second quarter, the end of the second quarter against the Magic, he kind of turned up because it felt like it seemed like being there, the Cade sensed that the team needed him to step up as a scorer, so he kind of turned it up. But that's what it seems like the biggest change to me is that Cade's kind of feeling out the game early, and then he's just turned the gear on in the second half. And a lot of the people who watched him in college tell me that that's how he really played in college as well. He used to turn it up in the fourth and the second half after letting his teammates kind of, well, not the fourth. There's only 2 halves, but you guys get what I'm saying. But that's one of the biggest changes we've seen from Cade this year. And I think that as he continues to play better and as he gets more accustomed to the season, that will be something that fans will very much welcome. I think that's something that fans will love, and they will be incredibly happy with. Like this game, watching him have 19 in the fourth and close the door on the Grizzlies, I think fans are going to go crazy over this. I can only imagine what the comment section is going to look like. I can only imagine what Pistons fans are going to be feeling after seeing him do this. The other part with Cade is that obviously I've said that he's woken up over the last 3 games. The first 4 games, it was a struggle. He wasn't shooting very well. That's true. Like, okay, it is what it is. But over the last 3 games, 28 points per game, 12 assists a game, 5.7 rebounds a game. He is getting to the free throw line during the stretch 7.7 times a game. I'll say it again. Over this 3-game stretch, 7.7 free throw attempts a game. If he can maintain that kind of free throw volume, that will completely change his efficiency. That is what will have his efficiency soar to a whole new level. If Cade can maintain that type of free throw volume. That's what we've been begging for throughout his entire career, that he will finally get a superstar whistle, that he'll finally get a credible whistle, a fair whistle. And so far this year, it looks like he is getting one, especially over the last few games. I think him making the All-NBA team has to do with that. I think him being in so many commercials and, getting covered like this, he's getting that respect from the refs to where they give him the benefit of the doubt. If he can maintain that volume, his efficiency would go through the roof. And by the way, during the stretch, he's at 60 true shooting over the last 3 games. Really good efficiency. That's with him shooting 70% from the free throw line. If he maintains his free throw volume and then gets to the free throw shooting that we know he's around, like around an 85% free throw shooter, efficiency goes flying up even more. But yeah, 60% true shooting. He's shooting 58% on twos and 35% from deep on 5.7 attempts. He's playing absurd over the last 3 games. Absolutely absurd. And I don't even feel like I've said maybe the most impressive stat here. That's also to go with 2 steals a game over the last 3 games, 1.3 blocks. But most importantly, only 1.3 turnovers a game in the last 3 games. He has a 9-to-1 assist to turnover ratio over the last 3 games. He's not turning the basketball over. The first 4 games of the year, he was turning the ball over like crazy. I don't remember which game it was. I don't know if it was Orlando or if it was Cleveland, where he said post-game, he said something along the lines of, my turnovers are getting ridiculous. I have to be better. I know that this is unacceptable. He called himself out. I don't know if it was Cleveland or if it was Orlando, but it was one of those games he said it post-game. And since then, he has done a fantastic job taking care of the basketball. Absolutely fantastic job. In the fourth quarter this year, by the way, only 3 turnovers through 6 games. 3 turnovers through 6 games. That's what StatMuse has. And I don't believe he turned the ball over in the fourth quarter of this game either. He's taking care of the ball. He's taking good shots. He's hitting shots. He's playing very well. And it turns out that maybe a 4-game sample size wasn't enough to go crazy about. Turns out that maybe a 4-game sample size, yeah, he didn't turn the ball over in this game in the fourth quarter. So only 3 turnovers through 7 fourth quarters to start the year. Really good stuff. Cade's playing like a superstar. Pistons are 5-2 with Cade playing, I believe, some of the best basketball of his career right now over the last 3 games on both ends of the floor. He's been a two-way monster the last 3 games. I think he's playing the best brand of his career. And this is just a few games after people wondering, should we be concerned about the Pistons? The answer is no. As long as you got Cade on your team and he's playing like this, there is no concern. There is no concern. That's not even including Jalen Duren playing well, Isaiah Stewart playing well, Ausar Thompson playing well. Duncan Robinson actually playing extremely well over the last few games. Playing extremely well. People were going after him. The first few games he wasn't playing well, but the last 3 or 4 games, Duncan has played extremely well. He's played 40 minutes in this game, and you're seeing why he was so valuable to Miami and why the Pistons went and got him. The movement shooting, how often he keeps moving without the basketball, keeps the offense flowing. He played extremely well in this game. I thought 4 of 10 from the floor, but I thought he just played really well. Over the last few games, he's played really well. So things are starting to come around for the Pistons. It turns out that at the beginning of the year, you kind of got to smooth things over. You got to get accustomed to your team. Seems like the Pistons are starting to smooth things out, starting to trust each other, starting to figure out how they want to play together, and they're playing really well at this time. They're playing extremely well at this time, 5-2. And coming up, I'll let you guys know why it's an extremely high possibility that the Detroit Pistons could be looking at an even better start to the season. We'll talk about it coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when you first bet your first $5 bet wins, So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free to available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. Before we continue with the pod, I got to text my wife back. My wife currently is out of town working with her interior design company, and they're all out doing. She's gonna get mad when she hears this. I don't know what it's called that they're actually doing, They're like designing a house, I believe it is. They're like crafting the, model of the house, I think, something like that. Either way, she's out of town. She's texted me like 4 times, but I haven't responded because I'm recording the podcast. She's saying she's going to bed, so let me text her back and make sure I be a good husband, you feel me, and say good night. Good night. I'm recording the podcast. I'm shouting you out live. There you go. See, I'm a good husband. I'm a good husband. All right. Anyways, the Pistons, after starting out the season losing to Chicago Bulls and then losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers in epic fashion, they have made that feel like the distant past, and they are now sitting at 5-2 with the schedule coming up that is pretty forgiving, and they should start out pretty hot. At this point into the season, I said, I believe my prediction was, is that the Pistons need to go 1-2 against the Rockets, Cavs, Magic, because they should beat the Bulls, the Celtics, the Mavs, the Jazz, the Grizzlies. Like, I thought they would take care of business there. Now, they didn't do that. They lost to the Bulls, but in return, they ended up beating the Rockets, which was a great win, and they beat the Magic. So they ended up going 2-1 against those 3 games that I said before the year I thought would be pretty tough. The Rockets game was a close game. They closed it out. The Magic game, they completely destroyed them. They lost to the Cavs, but you take 2-1 during that stretch. So that makes up that loss you had against the Bulls, and then they've handled their business against the Boston Celtics. They handled their business against the Dallas Mavericks, and now they've handled their business against the Memphis Grizzlies. So they're probably, even though it was a different way they got there, they're probably right around where I would have wanted them to be anyways, which is 5-2. I thought that the win would come against the Bulls, and they maybe would have lost to the Rockets, but nonetheless, they're 5-2, exactly where you want them to be. And coming up, they got the Utah Jazz at home, which, by the way, the Pistons have a lot of home games to start the year. I'm not going to lie. They started out the season on the road twice. Then they had 1, 2, 3, 4 back-to-back home games. Then they go right back to home against the Jazz after going on the road in Memphis tonight. So they got a lot of home games. They're going to have 5 of their first 8 games at home. That's pretty generous. So good scheduling there for the Pistons. They're going to be against the Jazz. They should take care of business against. Then they play their first in-season tourney game against the Nets. The Nets are maybe the worst team in the NBA. I don't know if they'll win 15 games. They don't pass the basketball. Like, don't watch them. I tried watching 2 of their games. It's one of the worst watches in the NBA. It's possible. Actually, no, I won't even say that. I don't want to get clipped. I don't want to get hot taked. But yeah, they don't pass a lot over there. Take that for what you will. It's not fun basketball. So the Pistons should take care of business against Brooklyn. If they do take care of business against the Jazz and Brooklyn, they should be 7-2, which is a great start to the year. And then you got Philly, who is up and down. I think that's a winnable game, but that's going to be a tough one, especially with their rookie playing so well, VJ Edgecombe, and Tyrese Maxey playing how he is. But the Pistons can win that game. Then they got the Wizards, the Bulls, the Sixers again, and then the Pacers. If they can split with the Sixers in their 2 games they play against them, they should beat the Wizards. I'm guaranteeing you this now. They will destroy the Bulls on November 12th. I'm telling you right now, you can book it, write it down. They remember what happened in that first game against the Bulls. They do not feel like they should have lost against the Bulls. When they play them at home November 12th, they will destroy them. They will win by at least 10 points. So as long as they can split against the Sixers, there is a realistic possibility that you could be looking at the Pistons come November 19th, and they are what? 6-2, 7-2. Let's say 7-3, 8-3, 9-3, 10-3, 11. You could be looking at them being 11-3 come November 18th. They have some, like, the Pacers are not good. The Wizards are not good. The Nets are not good. The Jazz are not good. They will destroy the Bulls, so I'm counting that as a win. And if they can split against the Sixers, you could be looking at an 11-3 start. And that's without Jaden Ivey. That's with Karis LeVert playing poorly and not being here for the majority of the beginning of the games. That's with Cade not playing well in the first 4 games of the year. All that worrying, all that concern, we could be looking in a week and a half from now, in actually 2 weeks. In 2 weeks from now, we can be looking at the Pistons 11-3, and maybe, is it possible they could be top 2, top 3 in the East at that point? I mean, right now they're tied for 3rd with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bulls are 5-1. They're going to fall off of that. The 76ers are 5-1. I'm kind of calling fluky on that too, but we'll see how they play. I think that will be a good measuring stick game for the Pistons and Sixers because both of them are towards the top of the East right now. They're both playing really well. which team is the fluky one? I think that would be what people are watching for. Is the Pistons run fluky because of the teams they're playing? Or the Sixers run fluky? I'm really interested to see that game. The Pistons can beat the Sixers. They could be in really, really good position. But they've put themselves in good position despite they answered the call, basically is what I'm saying. They answered the call after losing to the Bulls because that was a tough loss to take at the beginning of the year. They should not have lost to the Bulls that game. They're better than the Bulls. And they responded by winning against the Rockets, who people consider a contender, and they destroyed the Orlando Magic team that people were penciling in at the top 3 seed, and they've handled every other game they've played. Every other game that they're supposed to win, they've handled it. If they can continue to do that, we'd be looking at a great opening month to the season for the Detroit Pistons, where they are now 7th, as of right now, in defensive rating across the NBA. They're continuing to be a good defense, and they're a better offensive team this year through the first few games of the year. And Cade, I feel like, is playing the best game or the best brand of his basketball the last few games. I think he's really turning that corner. So, and you got Jalen Duren playing the best basketball of his career. I still think Ausar is playing the best basketball of his career. I think Isaiah Stewart is playing the best basketball of his career. Ron Holland, we didn't even mention him. He had a really good game off the bench. Honestly, I forgot to even mention how well he played. I just dropped the stat line. I know he had 12 points at one point off the bench in like 19 minutes. He was extremely electric in the first like 15 minutes or so of the game. Ausar got into foul trouble and Ron came in and scored like 12 points in the first like 8 minutes of him being on the floor. Yeah, he had 14 points, 5 of 8 shooting in 20 minutes of action. He was incredibly, like, all of these guys, all of their young guys, I feel like are playing the best brand of their career. Cade, Duren, Stu, Ausar, Ron, they're all playing really well. They're all playing really well, and obviously Cade's leading the bunch, playing extremely well last few games. So we'll see. Do you think the Pistons could theoretically start 11-3 to the season? Let me know. Comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Stay safe out there, and peace out, everybody.